welcome to Marty's Garden. Thanks for coming to see my show about growing parsley. Yes, we're going to cover growing parsley in pots, containers, out in the garden, lots of tips, the health benefits, and how to get growing successfully at your place. Alright, watch the rest of the video to find out more so you can grow parsley at home just like this, and bigger and better. Parsley is a wonderful herb that is steeped in history but started out with a bleak black reputation. The ancient Greeks simply associated parsley with death, and as it was supposed to have sprung from the blood of a Greek god called Archimedes, whose name meant forerunner of death. There are stories told of great battles for the carrying in the parsley in the battle, and the saying goes, to be in the need of parsley was their way of saying that someone was terribly ill and not expected to survive. But as the years went on, parsley did regain face and was even seen as a cure for baldness and effective against poisons. How do we grow parsley in the garden? Well, firstly I recommend that you start off buying seedlings from the local nursery or the shop, wherever you can buy parsley from, as it takes about 6 weeks for the seeds to germinate. It's also best if you live in cooler regions to start them off when spring starts to warm up. You may want to try starting them off in a little mini greenhouse or a greenhouse, or if you think your windowsill is sunny and warm enough, start them out there so you can get an early kick into the season. I also recommend that when you buy the seedlings, buy the small punnets and not the big ones that are already started to grow, because you'll get more plants and it doesn't take long for them to catch up. You can pick parsley fairly regularly, but I wouldn't recommend that you pick it all the time where you're losing growth. That's why you need to have a couple of plants. 2 or 3 plants is generally enough for one family once they get fully mature. But if you have 4 or 5, you can let some plants grow and then rotate them as you pick. So that's a good way for your parsley. I also recommend that you have a nice, fertile, healthy soil that is full of humus, which involves a lot of compost, blood and bone, and also lots of manure. Use a special dry manure, and if you get a chance, liquid fertilise with some water, some sea salt, such as seaweed, and a mild nitrogen form about once a week. In real hot areas, I recommend that you don't give the parsley full sun in the afternoon, as it doesn't like intense heat. If you come up with that problem, maybe shade it with a few plants or grow it underneath your tomatoes. Parsley's best grown in the morning sun up until about mid-afternoon before it gets way too hot. I also recommend that you plant parsley throughout your garden and not in neat little rows, because parsley is a great beneficial plant for attracting insects. And yes, insects such as hoverflies and lady beetles, which will devour those nasty little bugs that come into your garden. And parsley is also a fantastic companion plant for asparagus, carrot, chives, onions, roses and tomatoes. But I recommend that you keep it away from mint, as they both hate each other. Alright, there's the tips for growing parsley in your garden, and listen on, because we're going to teach you about growing parsley in containers. How do you grow parsley in pots and containers? Well, firstly you need a medium-sized container filled with a quality potting mix. Avoid the cheapies, because you just won't get the growth that you're after. Buy some seedlings, plant it out, or soak it first in some liquid seaweed fertilizer. And use that around about half strength, so it's just like a weak tea, and soak it for about an hour before you transplant it. This helps avoid any type of root shock. Then when you once it's planted into the pot, keep it in the shade for a couple of days to help it settle in and to get the roots going, and keep the pot watered every day in the warm times, because that potting mix needs to stay moist, not wet. Now, if you're not sure if it's moist right through, get your finger and stick it into the second knuckle. The second knuckle, then you will be able to tell if it's got dry spots, because pots can get little dry spots in them. And I also recommend that you put a nice container underneath to store the water. And in very hot times, move the plant into a shaded area and just give it some morning sun. You may also want to consider planting some of your parsley with your tomatoes, as they're a great companion and they love being together, and it improves the health and flavour of the tomato plant. In this part of the garden here, we have some flat leaf parsley growing. Now this is one of my favourites. I just love the taste of the flat leaf parsley. I actually prefer it more than the curly, and I will grow and eat both. At the end of the day, it's really up to you, and I don't want to get involved in a debate about which you believe is best. But you can leave some comments below and things like that below this video, and let me know what you think. But if it was up to me and I was only to grow just one, it would definitely be the flat leaf parsley, just like this one. So, let's discuss some of the benefits of using parsley in your diet. But first, I just want to give you a quick disclosure and let you know that I am not a medical practitioner in any way, but I just want to give you some advice on what I've found here online, and I'm not allowed to tell you that it works. So I think you get where we're coming from. But look, parsley's great for the bones. It's known to treat deafness and ear infections. Fantastic for diarrhea. It's known as a blood purifier. It's also known to remove bad breath because of the chlorophyll content. It increases the antioxidant capacity of the blood, and it's also an excellent tonic for the blood vessels. It's apparently very good for women and helps improve estrogen and nourish the blood, and also balance hormones. Parsley is also an immune-enhancing multivitamin and mineral complex in green plant form. It inhibits tumour formation, particularly in the lungs, and you can rub on to relieve the swelling and itching of insect bites. It helps with jaundice, improves kidney function and activity, helps improve edema and general water retention, fatigue and scanty or painful urination, helps reduce liver congestion, clearing toxins and aiding rejuvenation. Helps to make the menstrual cycle regular by the presence of apiol, which is a constituent of the female sex hormone estrogen. It helps to menstrual pain also. Aids in rheumatism, strengthens loose teeth, can prevent colds and ear infections, and is good for the heart as it contains folic acid, which promotes cardiovascular health. Also, regular consumption of parsley is beneficial for lowering blood pressure and enhancing the sexual functioning. Warning though, it is recommended that pregnant women check out and get more advice about using parsley in their diet around pregnancy and after breastfeeding. So there you have it. Some great benefits about parsley. And I'm sure that you want to get this growing in your garden. This is such an easy herb to grow, and it's just so useful. And I reckon you'll be blown out by what you've just heard. So listen to the rest of the video and watch the rest of the video and see what else we've got in store for you. In places where you get a really hot summer, I recommend that you grow it in a shady area and just get the morning sun, or shade it with some type of tree or something like a tomato plant. It grows best in morning sun. Now, I've been told that mint and parsley don't get on well together, and that it's actually, well, apparently they hate each other. But in this garden that I've just taken over from a friend, he's planted the parsley and the mint together. It seems to be growing fine, but I'm going to keep a good eye on it. hope you enjoyed the rest of that show, all about growing parsley in containers and pots and out in the garden, and about the benefits, the medicinal uses, and even the history. It's an amazing plant, isn't it? And listen, stay tuned and come and follow us at youtube.com/Marty's Garden. Subscribe above, click the like button down below, and even leave a comment. And if you want to see more just like this, and follow the series of Marty's Garden, make sure you click the subscribe button above, and we'll see you at the next video. Happy gardening. Bye.